Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here with another Pokemon Sword and Shield moveset video guide on how to use Zamazenta. We're actually going to be talking about both the base form and the crown form of Zamazenta in this video. I want to give a shout out to the Ubers players on Smogon as well, who basically helped me with this type of thing. And also, if you guys want to see a little bit of this Pokemon besides the Pokemon Showdown Live that I'll be uploading later today, you can check out my boy Mr. Jamvat. His channel link is usually down below. His channel got hacked, but he has fantastic stuff for competitive Pokemon. And Ubers is actually something he does every week called Uber Sunday on his channel, so feel free to check it out. Let's talk a little bit about Zamazenta, the base form, which we have right in front of us. So it's pure fighting type. It has the ability Dauntless Shield, which basically when it enters the battlefield, it gets +1 defense. So it gets a raise in its defense. And it's actually faster than the crowned version of Zamazenta, which is pretty big, because this allows it to outspeed Pokemon like Eternatus, and being pure fighting means that it's not weak to ground type as its crown form is as well. So the other cool thing about the base form of Zamazenta is that it can actually run an item, so it makes it pretty decent. The first set we have is either a Choice Band or Choice Scarf set, and I'll be talking a little bit about both of them, but I'm going to talk about it as a Choice Band set first, and then I'll talk about it as a Choice Scarf set after. So one of the big things about Zamazenta is its stab close combat coming off of 130 base power. With that, it's actually a fantastic wall breaker, able to break through Pokemon that Zacian itself doesn't even like dealing with. Pokemon like Unaware Quagsire are 2-hit KO'd by Banded Close Combat. Physically defensive Corviknight is 2-hit KO'd by Banded Close Combat as well, with Stealth Rock coupled in. So it's really nice because it's also able to break through Pokemon like Excadrill and Ferrothorn, which the other form of Zacian might not like so much, because if Excadrill is under sand, it does outspeed Excadrill and it threatens it with a super effective Earthquake, whereas Zamazenta is coming in, getting its +1 defense, and is actually, neutral towards that Earthquake. So Close Combat is your main move that you're going to be clicking probably 99% of the time. Crunch gives you a secondary move as an answer to Pokemon like Aegislash or Galarian Corsola, or even Poltergeist in the Ubers tier. That way you can hit them before they baton pass their Shell Smash boost to other Pokemon. Psychic Fangs allows you to actually 2-hit KO Pokemon like Eternatus, as well as Toxapex. And then your last move is either Wild Charge or Facade. Facade means that if you get burnt, for example, by a random Scald, or you get status by Toxic, Facade is actually really strong, allowing you to 2-hit KO Quagsire as well with that, which is pretty big with Stealth Rock damage. Whereas Wild Charge gives you a stronger move versus, basically it gives you coverage that can hit both Gyarados, Toxapex, and Corviknight all in one. So that really is, I think, up to you. I do like a lot that the Jolly set, or the Jolly, with Jolly Nature, you do outspeed Eternatus. So I do like Jolly a lot, but this thing can run Adamant as well. But again, I feel Jolly is just better. In terms of teammates, Zacian is a great teammate because it appreciates Zamazenta's ability to break through Quagsire, right? Quagsire is actually one of the premier answers to Zacian itself. So just because of its unaware ability, not caring about the attack raise that it gets, and being able to resist the Behemoth Blade coming out from Zacian as well, and obviously being able to recover it. But obviously, if you have I said obviously like 100 times, I'm sorry about that. If you have Zamazenta to break through Quagsire, then that's better for Zacian. Set up Pokemon like Dragonance Gyarados also appreciates Zamazenta's ability to get rid of Ferrothorn, to also completely destroy Rotom Wash, and also break through something like a bulk up Quagsire, so Gyarados can potentially sweep. And Eternatus also appreciates Zamazenta as a teammate because of its ability to break through Excadrill and remove Excadrill, also removing Hippowdon, being a 2-hit KO on that thing, as well as Corviknight. So they work really well together as teammates. In terms of counters, be careful. Gothitelle does run around in the tier, and the fact that it is slower than Zamazenta, or excuse me, than Zacian, is something to keep in mind. But it's a fantastic wall breaker. Now, if you are using Choice Scarf on this set, Choice Scarf can be pretty cool. I think you definitely want Wild Charge on the Choice Scarf set, because one of the big things about Choice Scarf is that it does outspeed both a +2 Gyarados, So it outspeeds +2 Gyarados as well as Sand Rush, Jolly Sand Rush Excadrill. So it's incredibly fast, and being able to outspeed, both of those threats, right? Like you can actually let Excadrill get its sand up from Tyranitar, and it will still be able to outspeed it as well as +2 Gyarados. And being able to threaten Excadrill with the KO from close combat as well as Gyarados with the Wild Charge is pretty big. It's still capable of 2-hit KOing Zacian as well as Ferrothorn, which is pretty big as well. And of course, Psychic Fangs is still going to be on the set if you're running Choice Scarf too, because that lets it 2-hit KO Eternatus if you have Stealth Rock up. And basically, Crunch is just your filler option, being able to deal with the Ghost types, mainly Aegislash, and also hitting Poltergeist. It doesn't do a lot to Aegislash, but at least it lets you not be walled necessarily by it. This one doesn't really have too much power, obviously. It really sucks that Zamazenta kind of got the short end of the stick. I'm gonna go into this real quick before we get into the Crown form, right? Because Crown is a more defensive variant, obviously, and slower. But it really sucks they got the short end of the stick, right? It didn't get access to Swords Dance. It got access to Iron Defense, which I think is fantastic. Had it had access to Body Press, man, like why does it not get access to Body Press? It gets a +1 defense raise. It would actually be crazy if this Pokemon had, I think, Body Press, but maybe eventually it will. Who knows? But good partners for this set include Gothitelle, as able to trap Pokemon, like passive Pokemon, like potentially Corviknight if you're running Thunderbolt, if you're running Trick Scarf, which is something that Choice Scarf Zamazenta doesn't break through as well. Gothitelle can also catch Eternatus, which is nice because it allows you to spam close combat on the Choice Scarf set too. But yeah, we're going to get into the next Zamazenta set, and this is using the Crown set right here, and this is using its defensive capabilities. And again, I want to give a big shout out to the Ubers community on Smogon for the help with this. But it's a really niche set, right? I think that the base set is a lot better just because of its wall breaking capabilities, whereas Zamazenta Crown, like I said, it gets defense, it gets an added steel type, which is pretty cool for more resistances. Obviously, it does add the weakness, though, to fire and ground, which is pretty big, as well as fighting. But it helps it take neutral from Psychic and things like that. But I think that while it does gain a higher defensive stat, losing out on the speed tier is pretty big too. But with its, I keep saying but, I'm so sorry guys. With its Dauntless Shield ability raising its defense and its still stab, close combat, and good speed in general, this set in particular you guys are about to see can be pretty cool. Basically, it's designed to be a set that lets it take on Excadrill and lets it take on Zacian, right? And still like Tyranitar and things like that. So the idea behind the set is Metal Burst. And what Metal Burst is, and with 252 HP and 180 defense with an impish nature, this allows you to eat an Earthquake from Excadrill, or even a +3 close combat from Zacian Crown at full HP. So basically, if Zacian comes in, it gets its attack raised, and it goes for Swords Dance. You go Zamazenta and you click Metal Burst. You actually live the +3 close combat if you're at full, and you KO it back with Metal Burst, right? Metal Burst, it basically gives the damage back. It's kind of like counter, but it's at 1.5 times. Close combat is your stab. You have 44 speed EVs in order to outspeed Jolly Excadrill, and the 32 attack allow you to KO Drill, allow you to KO Tyranitar. I mean, those are going to die anyway to close combat because it's stab and whatnot, but still allowing you to 2-hit KO physically defensive Ferrothorn as well. Behemoth Bash is your steel type attack, and it acts as a secondary stab. It lets you break Gyarados' substitute, and it avoids the drops from close combat. Also, obviously, if your opponent has Dynamax or Gigantamax, the damage is doubled. But for the most part, with this set, you're going to be running Metal Burst, and you're going to be clicking Metal Burst at least. And then your last move is either Crunch or potentially Rest. Crunch gives you a way of hitting Aegislash and Ghost types in general, which you can take on a little bit better, but of course you can still switch, if anything, versus them. Or you can have Rest, and Rest provided with maybe a Cleric on your team can provide you with longevity, especially because Zamazenta Crown is forced to run the Rusted Shield, right? The base form of Zamazenta can actually, it can actually hold items, whereas this one is forced to hold the Rusted Shield, but it's using it more as a defensive tank and has a surprise factor on, an offensive threat from it. And basically, this set in particular is a wall. Like it doesn't do anything versus bulkier teams that as the base set would, but it could take on offense, for example, and at least be able to take 1 or 2 Pokemon down with it. And again, being fast and Excadrill and still being able to threaten Tyranitar, things like that. Really, really nice for the Zamazenta set. And the last set we have right here is a Substitute Hal with the either Rusted Sword or you can either use the Crown or the base set with this. Of course, if you're using the Crown set, you get to use Behemoth Bash, but Substitute Hal is your way of getting your +1 attack. You already have +1 defense as well, so this can set up on the likes of Tyranitar. Get behind a Substitute, and Substitute also means that Ditto doesn't get to copy you when you get your boost if you're behind a sub, and you have Close Combat plus Behemoth Bash, so at least you get to bring up your 130 base attack to +1. Of course, the downside is Unaware Quagsire can still wall you, but being able to set up on the likes of Gothitelle or something like that can be pretty nice for Zamazenta. I do think this is more of a gimmick if you actually want to use a set. Another set I've seen that's not actually going to have a slide is like a Rest, Sleep Talk, Iron Defense set, coupled with Toxic Spikes, allows you to wear down a bulkier teams and whatnot, and whereas Iron Defense and Rest and Sleep Talk will, you know, provide that longevity and whatnot. But overall, I think if you're using Zamazenta, you're probably going to be using the base form with Choice Band, or you might be using the niche Crown form with the Metal Burst and whatnot. But I think as a defensive Pokemon, it faces a ton of competition from Quagsire, from Corviknight, which are better, right? They have reliable recovery and they provide more rolls than just a random Metal Burst trying to get something. But it's still a really fun Pokemon, and hopefully I get to put in a little bit of work with it later today in my Pokemon Showdown Live. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys all learned something and enjoyed, and let's see if we can get Zamazenta to do something. So I will see you guys next time. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Goodbye, my friends.